Welcome to Winning Retirement Television. My name is Cynthia DeFazio, and I'm joined today by Greg and Kristen Taylor of the Legacy Retirement Group. And to our viewers at home, we know there's a lot of rage right now with artificial intelligence. People are asking the internet a lot of questions. So we decided to have a little fun today. Stay with us. Kristen, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing so good. It's so good to be with you. I always look forward to our time together in the studio. I really do.
I look forward to time with you too.
Oh, thank you. And Greg, how are you?
I'm doing great, and I'm excited about today's show. It's going to be a little different, and I think it'll be interesting.
I think it will be too, because honestly, there's all the rage about chat AI, chat GPT, and I myself am guilty of it. I know that when I have a headache, I'll go and I'll ask a question, what could a headache mean on the side of the head? And I get all these different answers, and I'm like, okay, I've self-diagnosed myself.
That's a little scary, isn't it?
It is, because it can be anything from stress-related to, hey, you better go have an x-ray of the brain.
Just so you know, we have Dr. Kristen in the studio today.
Stop it.
True.
It's true. It's true. So to our viewers at home, we asked some questions about what retirees are thinking about as they approach the retirement years. We would love for you to take notes as we go through some of these. And I want to see what Greg and Kristen have to say as well. So some of the top questions that people are asking ChatGPT about retirement planning. Number one, Greg, I'm going to guide it to you. It's about income planning. How can I generate a reliable and sustainable income in retirement? Would you agree that's a top search?
I would say, based on the people that come into Legacy Retirement Group each week, that is probably the number one question.
Okay.
Is, will I have enough income, and what's the best way to generate it? And it's really two questions, because the first one is, will you have enough income?
Yes.
And understanding whether or not you can have enough income is the key, because that requires doing a little math. And we have so much fun. We have a resource on our website called the 5 Steps to Retirement.
Okay.
And the fun thing about that is it allows us at home to write down what income streams we're going to have in retirement, and to really there's like a budget sheet there. I know it's kind of a bad word, a budget, but on that budget sheet, it helps us really take inventory of what our true expenses are. Mm-hmm. So once you know what your expenses are, and once you know what income you have coming in, then you know whether or not you're going to have what we call a gap. And the gap is the difference between what you need and what you'll have.
Yeah.
And so if you've saved enough to generate income from what you saved to fill that gap, then we would say yes, you can have enough income. Now, the question is, okay, what's the best resource? What's the best tool to generate income? And so when we think about the tools that are out there, well, we've got the banking tool.
True.
And banks I really like for safety, and I like them for liquidity. Mm-hmm. The trouble with putting too much in a bank account is, and even though lately interest rates have been pretty good, over time, bank accounts don't typically keep pace with inflation, and it's hard to have a lifelong dependable income stream from just a bank account.
Sure.
Then we look at the brokerage world, stocks and bonds and mutual funds and variable annuities and things like that. And what we realize there is we have the most growth potential. Mm-hmm. And for the most part, that money is liquid as well. And you think, well, maybe I should take my income from the brokerage world. The trouble is there, we can take big losses, and that can sometimes submarine our ability to generate the income that we need.
That makes sense.
And plus, it causes a lot of emotional distress when the market's down.
Sure, sure.
Then there's the insurance world.
Okay.
And insurance can give us safety, can give us some growth potential, and can give us a protected income stream to last our lifetime. But the string attached, if you would, with insurance products is they're not typically fully liquid as soon as you put your money in. There's usually some kind of fee to get out of them. But it works well for people who want lifelong income, because if you want it to last your lifetime, then you're not really concerned about trying to pull it out right away.
All of it out.
All of it,
right?
Exactly.
Sure.
So when we're asking that question, is that something that a lot of people are concerned about? Yes, having income that lasts your lifetime that you know is dependable is something that is on a lot of people's minds.
Well, you just encapsulated like the top 3. According to AI, what withdrawal strategy should I use for my retirement accounts to ensure I don't run out of money? Number 3, what role should annuities play in my retirement income plan? So you kind of pulled that all together with just one.
So you mean I jumped the gun?
No, it was perfect because it actually tied in beautifully.
Yeah.
It did, and I like that question popped up on AI because
Yes.
I think annuities is something that's like a taboo subject. Sometimes people either they like them or they hate them. It seems like it's hard to find the
true.
in between if people aren't educated on them.
Yes.
And I think that the loathing of them comes from when their parents maybe were sold something that they didn't understand, or maybe they were annuitized, which, is really hard when it comes to a chunk of money that you have, and then you're giving up total control of it all at once.
Yes.
And that would make someone not like it if they don't understand what they just signed off on, right?
Of course.
It would.
So I'm actually glad that showed up as a question.
I am too. Next one, actually, Kristen, would be tax optimization. What are the tax implications of different retirement income sources, such as Social Security, pensions, and withdrawals from retirement account? So taxes is coming up as well.
Taxes is a big question that we receive every day of the week at our office. Every call, or every show or radio show we do just about has a question about taxes and tax efficiency. And I think a lot of times, even just understanding the basics of tax qualifications and the different accounts you have, knowing that your 401k and your IRAs are taxable because they're tax deferred vehicles. So as soon as you start taking money from those, now it's time to pay the piper, as Greg likes to say, and you have to pay those taxes. So understanding how, as you withdraw those funds to give yourself income in retirement, how those funds affect your Social Security payments is really important, and making sure you coordinate all those things because Medicare can be affected as well.
It really can. And you have to ask yourself, why are people so concerned about taxes and retirement? Well, we now have eclipsed $34 trillion of national debt. That is
$34 trillion.
It's an unbelievable number. And we have a partnership with the government whenever we have an IRA, a 401k, 403b, deferred compensation plan, a TSP. So all those has put us in partnership with the U.S. government. Why? Because every single dime that we ever withdraw from one of those accounts, we have to give Uncle Sam their money first. And that means Uncle Sam can have some control over how much is ours, because if your tax burden right now is 12%, then Uncle Sam has a 12% stake in your account.
Yes.
If your tax burden is 24%, guess what? Uncle Sam owns 24% of your account. If you're in a 35% bracket, which right now is the highest, they have a 35% ownership stake in your account. And realizing they have the ability later to change that and make it in their favor if they choose. So that's a vulnerability that I think concerns a lot of Americans right now, because not a lot of Americans are really trusting of the government.
Well, and I think getting into the nitty-gritty, Greg, of how the taxable accounts work together is more the question, just understanding those thresholds of how they all work together. Because when we talk about an income plan, which was the top concern,
Yes.
we're looking at drawing money from different sources and how we navigate through knowing what our tax bill is going to be ultimately. I think, outside of converting is important.
Oh, it really is. And how many times have we heard it's not how much income you make, but it's how much income you
keep. True.
Yes.
Well, we're going to take our very first commercial break, but Greg, you and Kristen have something called the tax map. Let's talk about what that is before we open the phone lines.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, whenever we're going on a journey, it's important to have a map. Well, now we have a GPS. So in some ways, we could call it the tax GPS, right? Because it helps guide you through retirement when it comes to how much tax you might actually owe on your 401ks, your IRAs, the tax burden you might be facing. You get to see for yourself, what might taxes look like for me? Pick up the phone, give us a call, 614-336-7660, or get out your smartphone, click the QR code and go to our landing page and hit schedule now, and you can get your own personalized tax map. Pick up the phone, hit the QR code, or go to our website. We'd love to have a meeting with you to set up yours today.
Greg, thank you so much. Kristen, thank you so much. To our viewers at home, that number to call is on your screen, 614-336-7660. If you're nervous about future tax rates, this is the perfect opportunity for you to have that tax map drawn up for your specific situation. Go ahead and call in to 614-336-7660 and claim your tax map today. We're going to take a very short commercial break here on Winning Retirement Television, but don't go anywhere. We asked ChatGPT the top questions that people are asking their financial advisor when it comes to planning for retirement. We want to see if you agree. We'll be right back momentarily.
The work never seems to end until the day it finally does. After nearly a lifetime on the job, you should be rewarded for all the time you spent working. Whether that's crossing off items on your bucket list, learning a new passion, or rekindling the love of an old one. After all, life isn't over when you stop working. It's the start of an all-new chapter. The one where you're the writer and you get to choose how your story will go. A way to achieve that is by having a clear financial plan to sustain your golden years. The biggest fear most retirees have is if they'll have enough money to maintain the lifestyle they've always enjoyed. Having a plan to help protect you against the curveballs life often throws will help to maintain your lifestyle. Call today to get your free written financial plan so you may live every day to the fullest and enjoy the retirement of your dreams.
Welcome back to Winning Retirement Television. My name is Cynthia DeFazio, joined today by Greg and Kristen Taylor of Legacy Retirement Group, and we are talking all about the top questions that people are asking their financial advisor when they're planning for retirement, according to ChatGPT AI. So we want to see if you agree. Greg, this next one actually pertains to investment strategy.
Okay.
Number one question that people are asking their financial advisor is, how should I adjust my investment portfolio now that I'm retired? What do you think?
Well, Cynthia, what I've discovered in my 31 years of doing this is the reason we need to adjust our portfolio when we retire is because we now have to put our portfolio through a different stress than it's ever experienced before. And what I mean is we're now taking our portfolio from a time frame where we've been making contributions and allowing for continued growth over a long period of time. And we're now asking that portfolio to do something different. Mm-hmm. We're asking that portfolio to begin giving us distributions. So what we have to ask ourselves about that portfolio is, what is likely to happen if the market goes down and I pull out distributions? Because we often know that the market doesn't just go up, but the market sometimes goes
down.
So how can that impact our portfolio? What's really interesting to me over the years of doing this is that not only does the average investor not seem to know, but the average advisor doesn't seem to know. Because you see the advisor that works in the brokerage world that helps people accumulate wealth. And by the way, there's a lot of great advisors that help people accumulate wealth.
Sure.
So I'm not minimizing the importance of their role in what they do, but the problem is they've only seen that side of it. Mm-hmm. So now that people are getting to the place where they're wanting to retire and pull out distributions, the world totally changes. And so even the broad market, like the S&P 500, if you look at it over the last 23 or 24 years, it's averaged a little over 8.3%. But if you were taking a 4% withdrawal rate out of that S&P 500 over the same exact time frame, you'd be down by nearly half.
Wow.
So that's a huge impact. And if you're not accounting for that impact, what could happen is we then get scared.
Yeah.
And then that fear causes us to make an emotional decision, which can cause us to do the wrong thing in retirement. So to answer the question about how we adjust our portfolio, the way the adjustment really happens is by segmenting it. And what I mean by that is we need a segment for liquidity, we need a segment for income, and we need a segment for growth. In our practice, we call that the 3-bucket approach. Now, there's nothing magic about it except for this. It allows the income bucket to do exactly that, generate income to last a lifetime. It gives us a liquid bucket for the emergencies, which lets our growth bucket do what it did while we were working, grow.
Perfect.
That's how you change it.
Well, and I think it's important to point out that savvy people, the families that we meet with every day of the week, really.
Yes.
They know that retirement is marking a fundamental shift. That's where they're reaching out and asking questions. That's why we see, the trending questions on Google and ChatGPT, because they know that there's a change that has to happen. While you're talking there, I was thinking of one of our clients, John, who passed away several years ago now. And when he first came in, he came in with his cane. We meet with so many people, but he stands out because we were chatting for a while. We were waiting for the conference room to get cleared out. And he said, I've been listening to you guys for a long time. He was from radio. He said, and I just want you to know right now, I have over $1 million. I've done a good job saving. And I said, oh, that's great. Good job. That's awesome. He said, and I have a special needs brother who I made a millionaire as well.
Yeah.
And he kind of paused, and I'm thinking, okay, I don't know where this is going. We're not in the conference room yet, Where are we going with this? And he said, but here's the thing. I don't know how to keep it.
Wow.
That's what he told me. He said it was easy. We just put a little money in every paycheck.
Yeah.
I helped him do it. I did it. I helped a few family members. That part's easy. He said, all you have to do is save to get money. But how do I change that into distributing it to myself when I retire? That's what I haven't quite figured out. And, and it was so interesting that he wanted to say that as soon as he walked in. Do you remember that?
I do remember that.
Yeah.
And I remember this, and this is what makes her so special, is that he didn't have all his ducks in a row and suddenly became very, very ill. So Kristen sat next to him at his bedside at the hospital, helping him get all his estate planning stuff in place, all his ducks in a row, so that his brother could be cared for when he was gone. So those are things that take place because somebody really cares. And that old saying, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care.
That is so true. That is so true. And Kristen, it kind of ties into our next one before we take our next commercial break. How can I plan for health care costs in retirement? I'm very confused about Medicare premiums and out-of-pocket expenses. So how do I plan for health care?
Yeah, that's a big one. That's a big one. And healthcare is just such a great expense for all Americans right now. It really is. And so as you're working and you're getting health insurance through your job, it's expensive. When you go off and retire, it's expensive. It can be like a car payment or a house payment in some cases.
Yeah.
And so you really do have to account for that in your overall planning and budgeting. But then when you get into Medicare, it gets even more complicated.
Yeah.
And we actually have a resource at our office. A gentleman, gosh, you've known him for 30 years now?
He and I began working together in 1994.
Yeah, so a long relationship.
Yep.
And he knows all the ins and outs of Medicare choices and planning for when you reach that point. And then we work together alongside each other to make sure everything fits into the overall plan.
Perfect. Well, I love the questions that people are asking ChatGPT.
Yes.
This is fascinating. Kristen, thank you so much. Greg, thank you so much. To our viewers at home, there's a number for you to call on the screen, 614-336-7660. We know that you're in the viewing audience today and you're watching our show and you're listening to some of the questions that people are currently asking artificial intelligence. Well, you don't have to do that. You have an invaluable resource. You have Greg and Kristen, and what they're offering you today is a complimentary consultation. Let them get to know you, what your goals, your dreams, and your hopes are for retirement. They're willing to sit with you, to listen, and to design a written financial plan for your retirement peace of mind. But all you have to do is one thing. Call in 614-336-7660, or if you don't have your pen handy, you can grab your smartphone. It's even easier. Click on that QR code at the bottom corner of your screen. That will take you right to Legacy Retirement Group's landing page, and you can schedule your time with Greg and Kristen using the Calendly link. We're going to take a very short commercial break. We have so much coming up with ChatGPT and AI about questions that are being asked about planning for retirement. Stay tuned.
Plan smart, retire well. How do you do that? Many times we meet families and they actually think they have a plan.
But what about when you want to upgrade your house? What about when your wife wants to buy new furniture?
No investment decision should be made outside the context of a plan. So what is your plan? We believe in the 3-bucket approach as it comes to your finances. Your liquid bucket, which is what I call the sleep well at night account, for when the what ifs happen in life. Your income bucket, which is there to meet the gap between Social Security, maybe a pension, and what you really want to live in. We believe you should protect that income, then grow the rest. And then your growth bucket. The growth bucket's really focusing on helping you achieve your growth goals. As you transition from your working career to retirement, we want that to be the greatest moment of your life, and we don't want you to fumble the ball.
So imagine, when you're working, you're getting a paycheck. When you're retired, you have to pay yourself. The 3-bucket approach is a really easy way for people to start compartmentalizing what they're doing with their money.
We want you to be successful in any economy. We want you to thrive no matter what's going on. Worry and fear and greed are the biggest problems when it comes to investing. We want to take that off the table, and we want to make sure you have a consistent growth strategy. We want you to be just as successful in your retirement plan as you were in your accumulation plan.
Welcome back to Winning Retirement Television. My name is Cynthia DeFazio, joined today by Greg and Kristen Taylor of Legacy Retirement Group. And our show today is talking about some of the top questions that people are actually asking artificial intelligence about what they should do when planning for retirement. So this next one, Greg and Kristen, is all about estate planning. What steps should I take to ensure my estate is properly managed and distributed according to my wishes?
Well, isn't that kind of our goal? Whatever we leave behind, getting that to those we love as efficiently as possible.
Yes.
Because who really wants the government, telling everybody what they get or when they get it? Who wants the attorneys involved? Who wants, to have to go through probate court, the time involved and the loss of privacy and the cost? Mm-hmm. So, in general, I don't believe anybody would want to go through that. So you have to structure it in such a way so you won't. And there's different ways to leave things to the next generation. Some people don't think about it, or they never quite get around to it. Mm-hmm. And so they don't do anything. Mm. Now that's the worst thing, because then it goes what is called intestate, meaning that the court decides. Not a lot of fun.
No.
Well, I think, Greg, that question is big because so many people don't like working with attorneys.
Well, I don't blame them, but
it's a stressful thing. Stop it. It's a stressful thing. I think that's a good conversation to have about it. It doesn't have to be stressful. We can do the proper planning and make it a part of our overall retirement goal to have those things looked at and updated regularly. But I think it's that set it and forget it mentality that happens with estate planning. We do it when we feel like we have to. Maybe when our kids are younger and we've got, things out there that we want taken care of when they're young, and then we leave it alone for a long time. Mm-hmm. And then when we start approaching retirement age and aging, we think, we better do something, right? So you do the bare minimum.
Right.
Well, we aren't attorneys at our office. We don't want to be. We don't want to have an attorney working in our office. We like to have that relationship separate for our clients, and we have great resources for referring our clients for their particular needs, because I talk about photography a lot on the show. Yes. I love photography. I love buying lenses.
Yes.
It's probably the most expensive hobby you can have outside.
You love cute cameras.
I do. One of our camera guys on the show just got a Leica, and I just drooled all over the counter when I saw it. But with lenses, we don't want a one-size-fits-all lens that, goes from 24 millimeter to 200 millimeter. I don't know if that one exists, but there's some weird ones out there. Mm-hmm. They're trying to be everything to every picture, every situation, and they're really no good. They're really junk.
Okay.
They're worth nothing. So you want to be focused in on what area you need an attorney for. So for instance, for estate planning, like what we're talking about right now, you want an attorney that focuses on that, somebody that's well-versed in that.
You do.
Okay,
Yeah.
You might have a need for elder law planning, and you need an attorney for that.
Special needs,
things of that nature. But to get back to the original question, because I don't want to miss out on that before the end of the show here, how many times have we heard people say, I've got a will I'm taking care of?
Yeah.
A lot. And if you have a will, then you will go through probate. Okay?
There you go.
It's like having an engraved invitation. Now, as I mentioned earlier, it's not the end of the world. It's just not necessary.
Yeah.
So there's different things we can do. Some people choose to set up a trust. And there's basically two main versions, a revocable living trust or an irrevocable trust.
And that addresses the question well.
Yes.
That's how you control things from the grave, if you will, right?
Exactly. Now, a revocable living trust gives you control while you're living, and then once you pass away, it becomes irrevocable. It means it can't be changed. And anything you title inside your trust will go to that generation next and won't go through probate. Now, you can also name beneficiary designations. So on IRA accounts, on annuity accounts, on life insurance, you can name beneficiaries. And I encourage people, encourage to make sure their beneficiaries are updated.
Yes, big one. Absolutely.
Because I've seen ex-spouses get things when the new spouse was left out because it never got changed.
Or things be done wrong that don't fit the financial tool that is being used, where the beneficiaries are named incorrectly. It messes things up.
It absolutely does. So, first of all, having a plan. Secondly, having the right plan. And thirdly, going to the right people.
Okay.
The reason we don't hire an attorney in our office is because, we want someone that specializes in special needs that can do that when that's the need. If it's elder law, someone that does that. If it's just estate planning, it's that. So there's lots of different specialties there that need to be addressed, and we want to make sure their specialty can be really achieved, what people actually need. And something to be careful of. There's some attorneys that just love taking care of families and are doing the best of their ability and really are being honest and telling people what they truly need. There's some attorneys that are salespeople. You have to be careful that you don't get with the wrong group of attorneys. That's really where you need to be careful there, because you don't want to be sold something.
No, that would be a terrible feeling. Well, Kristen, you and Greg have a very special offer to present to our viewers at home. Before we say goodbye today, we have about a minute left of the show.
Yeah, we'd like to offer today our complete planning review. I mean, we've talked a lot about questions that you as viewers and people online are searching out the answers to. And during the complete planning review, we can really nail down what it is your family needs, what goals you're trying to achieve, and what you're trying to do with the investments and the dollars you've worked so hard to save. And you're able to schedule that directly on our website at legacyretirementgroup.com by clicking Schedule Now or clicking on the QR code there on the screen.
Kristen, thank you so much. Greg, thank you so much. To our viewers at home, most specifically, thank you for spending time with us today on Winning Retirement TV. We tackled some of those top retirement searches through Chat AI, so thank you for spending time during this very fun episode. Be safe, be happy, and be blessed. We look forward to seeing you back 1 week from today on Winning Retirement TV with Greg and Kristen Taylor. Take care now.